Hello and welcome to our season review series presented by Comerica Bank. I'm Tori Petry. I've got Tim Twentyman and Mike O'Hara joining me virtually. Usually we would meet up in the studio, recap the season that way. We're going to do it virtually though this year. And gentlemen, we've got the offense to chat about first. Obviously, this season didn't go the way the Lions intended it to in any facet, but certainly the offense was probably one of the highlights of this team at times. We'll start with you, Tim. What did you think of the way the offense performed this year?
Well, it certainly wasn't the biggest problem. We know the next video we're going to touch on that, and that was the defense. But I mean, look at this team offensively and the job Darrell Bevell did. I look at 14 games where this team scored at least 20 points. That ties a franchise record. So I think the offense gave them opportunities to win football games, and their defense let them down a lot of times. Now, that's not to say there weren't some times where the offense let them down. You can go back to week one. They hang on to that ball, they win that game, and they're off and running. But I think overall, you just look at Matthew with a 4,000 yard passing season. I think you love where they're headed with DeAndre Swift. You look at TJ Hawkinson, now a Pro Bowler. He really took a huge step in his second year, and they've got some pieces on the offensive line and Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnow that you really have to be excited about moving forward.
All right, Mike, I saved the Matthew Stafford question for you. When you look back at Matthew Stafford's 2020 season, how would you characterize it?
Well, it was heroic. I mean, when I say heroic, I mean athletically heroic. I don't like nobody jumped on grenades or anything like that, but athletically heroic, I thought. And you saw from start to finish what he means to the team when he's in there, what he means to the team when he's not in there, what the willingness and the desire to play no matter what. Look, you have a sore thumb. Let's go in just the last game, game 16, week 17. Sore right thumb, that's his passing hand. Bad left rib. Anybody who's ever had one of those, that hurts everywhere. And a bad right ankle. I just kind of watched him when he went out for the coin toss, and he's jogging back to the sideline to start the game, and he's limping. He didn't get a chance to start the game, and he's already limping. But just heroic and a leader and all that. And he's the heartbeat and the pulse and of that franchise, not just the team, but of that franchise. But we'll see what happens in 2021 if he's still here. There are so many questions, and he's one of them.
Well, yeah, Mike, I'm curious what your answer to that question is. Obviously, Stafford's still under contract, but a lot of things still up in the air with the new GM and a new head coach coming in. Do you think that Stafford is here in 2021?
Well, if this was the NBA, if this was pro basketball, you had a 5-year contract. You could change teams 6 times if you wanted to. But this is the National Football League, and it's different. I would think that there's going to be a heart-to-heart talk sometime between early February when he turns 33 and the draft and all that other stuff. Where are we going? Guys, look, he's given everything there is to give to this franchise. It's time for him to be rewarded for winning now. Look, he's part of the team too, and not everything that's gone wrong is not on him, but some of it is. I think he'll be back in Detroit. He's too valuable here, but you never know. But the other thing about it is people talk about, well, if you trade him now, it's too big of a hit on the salary cap. If you're going to do it now. Feel the pain right now and move on and get your guys going this year. Don't waste another year. You've already wasted 12 years to a degree of Matthew Stafford's career. Don't waste any more time with anybody.
Tim, you mentioned them earlier. What did you like about the way the offensive line played this year?
Well, I think first off, you start with your left tackle, who you signed to a contract extension, right? He's in the prime of his career, and he was a top 12 tackle in the league by Pro Football Focus. He allowed 2 sacks and 8 quarterback hits playing 16 games at left tackle. That's pretty darn good. And so you've got to like the fact that either Matthew Stafford or whoever's playing quarterback, their blind side is protected for the next half decade is good for the Lions. And then you have Frank Ragnow. He really took off in his 3rd season. Obviously with the Pro Bowl, didn't allow a sack. I think it was 2 quarterback hits all season in 14 games. So, you like what Jonah Jackson did as a rookie starting at left guard. And so, look, Taylor Decker joked about it this week. He said, look, I'm 27 years old and I'm one of the old guys on the line. And you've got to like that if you're the Detroit Lions, right? You've got some good young pieces that you can build around. They've got some depth at that unit, which we saw when they had to shuffle things around and really didn't skip a beat. I thought they protected Matthew pretty well this year. They opened some holes in the run game. And I think overall they played pretty well. Now, is there, still some area for improvement? Sure. sure. But I think you've got to like what you have in some of the young pieces that they're building up front along the Detroit Lions offensive line.
Well, speaking of young pieces, running back DeAndre Swift looks like he's one of those young pieces the Lions can build on going forward. Mike, what stuck out about Swift's rookie season?
Just the ease with which he runs and the way he changes direction without, just without losing balance. He can turn on a dime and accelerate. I like that. I'd like to have seen a little more production from him, in all honesty. I thought there were times when he just kind of just wasn't in the game. I don't mean he wasn't into the game. He was just out, just a guy running plays, but he's got good hands. He's got good instincts. He's got an awareness of the game. I think he's really a plus player. I was looking at the snap counts before we did this, and I was surprised that he only played like 350 or 370 snaps. But then you remember he missed some games because of injury and illness. But I think he's a real keeper. I'll go back to draft night when Tim and I were, buttoning up after the first round, and I said to Tim, if I'm the Detroit Lions, I trade up for the first pick in the second round. I want DeAndre Swift. Well, they didn't have to do that, and they got him. And I thought it was a good pick, and I think he showed that it was a good pick. Look, there were 3, 4, 5 really good good players drafted in the first 2 rounds this year, and he's one of them.
Well, see, that's what happens when the Lions follow Mike's advice in the draft. It just works out.
Well, Bob Quinn was at the other end of the building, far, far away from the madness. Okay.
Last question for you guys here. Tim, you and I talked on Sunday morning about how much of the Lions wide receiving core is hitting free agency this next offseason. What do you think this Lions offense looks like in 2021 with a lot of these pieces probably moving this offseason?
Yeah, I think it's going to look a little bit different in terms of the wide receiver core. Obviously, they've got to make a decision on Kenny Golladay. I think he's a top 15 wide receiver in this league, Pro Bowler last year, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons in 18 and 19. So he's productive. And look, they're a better football team when Kenny Galladay's on the field. Now, will Kenny Golladay want top 5 money? What will that conversation be like with the team? We'll have to just kind of wait and see how those conversations play out. Obviously, the franchise tag is also a possibility for the Lions when you talk about Kenny Golladay. But beyond that, look, Marvin Jones Jr. had a terrific season, led them in receptions, yards, touchdowns. Doesn't show any signs of slowing down at age 30, but look, he's headed into free agency, and I got the sense from talking with him, I think it was last week or the week before, that he's pretty excited about that. Look, free agency is fun. You get wooed, right? Teams come to you and they throw a lot of money on your plate. So he's going to go through that process, and we'll have to see kind of where that falls in line with where the Lions are at. And look, Danny Amendola's 35. I think he still has something, but you could look to get younger at the spot. So there's a lot of decisions to make at wide receiver, but I think the good thing is there's a lot of them out there. I think this is good free agent class for wide receivers. I think this is another really good draft class for wide receivers. So if they want to revamp that unit a little bit, I expect it to look different, and they have some options in free agency in the draft, certainly.
All right, good stuff on the offense, gentlemen. Thank you so much for weighing in on our season review offense edition presented by Comerica Bank. We'll be back tomorrow with our defense.